I want to move on to the next question because this came up a little bit. Our jargon of the day today, Dr. Greener Wooten, was ABA. And I said that we were going to
Okay.
talk a little bit about this, but this question came in from a viewer. What's the difference between DTT and NET? Is one of them ABA and the other one isn't? Which one does my child need?
This is an excellent question, and one I feel like we get all of the time. They are both ABA, so we'll start there. DTT is what's known as discrete trial training, whereas NET is natural environment training. They are both types of teaching that we utilize in ABA programs. There are actually even more. These are just two of the more common ones. And I think they're probably confusing because we don't refer to them as discrete trial training or teaching or natural environment training or teaching. It's DTT or NET. So sometimes we maybe don't explain enough why we use them, when we use them, and that they both are oftentimes crucial aspects of a good ABA program. So discrete trial training is a method of teaching in more simplified and structured steps. So instead of teaching a whole skill at one time, maybe a learner needs to learn, let's say, how to express their actions. So I am running, I am jumping, she is eating. That involves a lot of different skills, right? So you've got the action, but you also have the pronoun in the she, he, I part of it. You also have tenses in there. You have the present tense. Those are a lot of different skills that sometimes we take for granted, that you have to sometimes learn each one of those things individually. So with discrete trial training, what we would do is break that skill down to its smallest components using what we call discrete trials. So we would start with teaching actions, maybe not even vocalizing actions, maybe recognizing pictures of actions or demonstrating actions. And then we teach each step one at a time. DTT is typically a method of teaching which is more adult directed. Oftentimes, what's successful about discrete trial training is that we are using repetition of a skill until we see that the child is able to engage in that particular small skill completely independently of any adult prompting. In discrete trial training also, the reinforcers that we use or preferred items that we use are chosen typically based on how strong they are. And we use very clear instructions and, again, repetition of those instructions to teach new skills. It's a really great teaching technique for developing new responses. It is certainly not appropriate in all situations for all skills and for all individuals. Contrasted with natural environment training, which are instructions that are driven more by the individual's motivation and are typically carried out in environments that either are the natural environment or much more closely resemble natural environments. They are still structured in that we are trying to limit access to certain reinforcers based on behaviors that we want to see or skills we want to see the individual engage in. It's a little less structured than discrete trial training. We are usually not working on skills that are extremely simplified and broken up at that point. We're trying to capture the current motivation of the individual, and still prompting happens. And this particular type of teaching is helpful for sometimes generalization of skills. Sometimes we even teach new skills in this format. It really does depend on the skill that we're working on, as well as the particular learner. So the easy answer to this is that most individuals need both of these at one phase or another. You can kind of think of learning a new skill in elementary school. When you were in elementary school, there's no way I could have learned, let's say, long division in the natural environment, or multiplication for that matter, or any math skills. But I needed those skills so that I could function in more natural environments. Whereas teaching other skills wouldn't be appropriate to do in a more structured setting. So you need a combo of both. There's not a simple formula for what skill goes with what type of training or what type of child would work better with one method versus another. That should be something that you discuss with your ABA provider as to what the goals are and kind of what you're looking to achieve at the end result of that task. And then you can come up with what the particular training methods are that would be most appropriate. But they're both methods of teaching that we utilize in ABA. They're both very effective, and we use both of them quite regularly.
Wonderful. I love the question and I love the answer. But when I'm explaining to parents give me a grade on this, Dr. Greener Wooten, I say to them, think of ABA as a toolbox. And that, let's say that you were going to go outside and build, a playhouse for your kiddos. And this would be the equivalent of saying to somebody, do I want to use a hammer or do I want to use a screwdriver? And,
absolutely.
And you're going to need both, but for different things at different times. So
absolutely.
There we go. Okay. So I pass. All right.
Pass.
Go ahead. Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.